everyone. Welcome to Supp Talk Radio. I am excited tonight because I always love meeting new people and putting a spotlight on the young and upcoming brands. My guest is a natural competitive bodybuilder and supplement entrepreneur. We know a lot of the same people. We dialogue a lot actually on LinkedIn, which seems to be a new platform for a lot of the supplement industries. We connected, had a lot of commonalities, and figured let's chop it up, learn about each other, and see where the conversation goes. But anyway, allow me to introduce Tristan Nance of Ascentix Innovation Labs. Tristan, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Sean.
I'm excited, man, because again, a lot of the same people that we know. Don't want to mention any names because very, very well known. But walk us through you growing up. I mean, were you an athlete? Walk us through like high school and stuff. First off.
Yeah, so I mean, I've always played soccer. So played high school soccer. Did a couple other sports like wrestling and all that other stuff, track, just to stay active during the off season. But soccer was where my heart was. Played all the way through my sophomore year of college, and then kind of stopped and kind of lost my competitive edge. And then recently picked up natural bodybuilding. Just been kind of rolling with that for the last, I think we're going on year 3 or 4-ish.
So what made you get into bodybuilding though? That's definitely a drastic turn from the lean, soccer player, and now someone who wants to put a little bit more muscle in their body.
Yeah. So in high school at 16 years old, I lived with my dad since I was 13. So I watched him go to the gym at 4:30 in the morning for like a couple years. And then one year, I don't even know what made me do it or whatnot, but I was like, Dad, I want to go to the gym with you, right? And he was like, okay, but I'm not going to wake you up. You have to get up and blah, blah, blah. So I went. And then like the first year, whenever you're young, you're trying to go to school and then waking up early in the morning, but you're also trying to play the game at night with your friends and do all that stuff. So I was on and off for like a really long time, and playing soccer was just killing my body. So then I want to say after I got done with soccer, I was like, okay, like I'm getting a little fat. I'm out here drinking, the normal college life, after you stop playing sports. And I was like, okay, I'm really going to lock in. I'm going to stop doing all this. And I just want to see, where I can take my body. Because my thing was like, I never really had like shredded 6-pack abs, like really, took my body there. It's because I was always running. I was doing cardio. Like I was lean, but it wasn't like, bodybuilding.
Shred.
So I was going consistently. And this was like during the COVID time. So I had to drive. In St. Louis, there was only one gym that was open. So
really? Okay.
Everybody that was going to the gym was going to this one gym. Thankfully, like my old coach, he just came up to me. He's like, have you ever considered doing this? Like, I see you in here all the time. You already got the shape. The only thing you just need some adjustments. And I was sitting there. I was like, man, we're stuck in COVID. We ain't doing nothing. I was like, yeah, man. He didn't even really have to convince me. He just asked me, and I was like, yep, let's do it. Let's start. And then like that week we started, and I've just been doing it ever since.
So growing up, I mean, were you reading magazines or anything, or just were you following anything of the sport or athlete, or again, were you kind of really just out of the bodybuilding scene and not even paying attention?
Just kind of out of it. I mean, whenever I was playing soccer, that's head down. I was playing ball, watching that and doing that. But I mean, now, I mean, like I like Aaron Banks and C-Bum and all them, but I'm more of like a new school guy. I'm not like super into the old school. Like, obviously you respect those guys, but it's like I haven't took like the full deep dive back.
Okay. So you start going to the gym. Did you say you have a partner, or you winging it, or what do you do? What's going on, man?
Yeah, I worked out with my coach. So my first 2 years, I worked out with my coach every day.
Okay.
And then these last 2 years, I've just been solo. It's kind of, I would like to have a partner, but I moved. So I moved from St. Louis. I live in Charlotte now. And I mean, I go to the gym at 4:30 a.m. So it's not very many people that want to go bang weights at 4:30 a.m. and go as hard as you need to go and just do it consistently. So I just work out alone.
So what time do you go to bed at night for the days you're going to the gym that early?
Like 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Okay. Now, dude, now when you training fasted, you trying to get a meal in before you hit the gym, or?
I eat a rice cake with 20 grams of almond butter and then crank some pre-workout.
And again, not caffeinated or non-caffeine pre-workout?
Mostly high stem, but
Okay.
there are some days that I do non-stem just because, when I don't know like what's up. Like I get like acid reflux if I'm always cranking high stem. So
Yep.
I try to taper it down sometimes.
Okay. And what's your training like?
So 5 days on, it's not really like push pull legs. So one day legs, and then 2 days of either chest and back, and then one arm day, and then whatever falls on on the fifth day,
Okay.
I rotate that body part out the following week. So it's a 4-day split, but it's rotating 5 days
And how often are you doing cardio?
every day.
And what does that consist of?
So 15,000 steps,
You're
12,000
counting.
steps.
Okay, so is that just throughout the day, or are you getting on like a treadmill and physically counting 12,000 steps?
I mean, I got a treadmill in my house that I got on this desk. I got a standing desk. I walk during work. I do 30 minutes on the stairs right after training. And yeah, mainly throughout the day and all that. I wear my little Apple Watch
Okay.
my little tracking. That's what I go off of.
So wait a minute, do you have one of those little treadmills that like doesn't have the arms on it? Is it just a little walking treadmill?
Yeah, I mean, it's not little. It's
Yeah.
pretty big. Like it's actual walking pad.
Because I've actually seen them. I contemplated because I have one of those elevator desks that come up,
Yeah.
and I've actually contemplated getting one of those. But I don't know. I have a big treadmill anyway that's in front of the TV when I do my cardio. So I'm like, yeah, do I want 2 treadmills? And I guess you able to focus, like actually walk and do your thing and focus on your work.
Yeah. So the first like couple times you do it, it's a little weird because you got to get acquainted to like your body not moving in the way that your eyes go, I guess.
Yep.
So it's kind of odd, but it ain't that bad. I'm more productive while I'm walking, actually.
Because like I said, I think the first couple of times if I were to try that, I'd be looking down, afraid I'm going to fall off. Because again, even though I don't hold handles when I walk, but just to know they're there for the security, if that makes sense.
Yep. Because you can't see. Well, I can't see my feet whenever I'm walking because my desk comes over.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Okay. And you have competed, or you're going to compete?
I have competed, so I have my pro card in IPE and OCB.
Do you really? Okay.
So I mean, I've been competing for 3 years. Last year I did a show. 2 years ago I did 3 shows, and then my very first year I did 2 shows. I don't know if I'm going to compete this year yet, just because there's a lot of noise and a lot of inconsistency. So you got to be mentally, physically, and emotionally like locked in if you really want to be competitive on the pro stage. Because like I'm not like even a top 50 pro, but them dudes up there are crazy looking, like insane.
So is it weight? Is it height? What's I'm not familiar with that division per se.
Yeah, no, there's no weight or height unless the class is too big, and then they'll go by height.
Okay. But so wait a minute. Now you just said you're not sure if you're going to compete, but I heard you calling out some people on your Instagram 2 days ago.
No, I didn't call nobody. Out. I just
you tagged some people. You didn't directly call people up.
Yeah. Because I want to compete against the best. Like if I'm going to get on the stage, because there are so many natural divisions, it's like super divided.
Okay.
So that's why I have 2 pro cards, because like I got to go over here to compete with so and so, and then I got to go over here to compete with so and so. I would rather us all come to one and just have one big show, and then the best of the best, because the guys that I tag, those they have championships, like they have the big titles.
In that Fed, is it your analysis? Is it poly, or what do they do?
Both.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Because I love all these federations, but sometimes you look at some of them, and I don't know that when I have to do my research, but I've seen some of them where it's like, the guy come on stage with pure gyno, and it's like, I don't know if you're really natural. Maybe you're natural over the last year, but I'm not going to beat up any federations. But I'm sure you've seen some of it where you kind of scratch your head and be like, is this guy really 100% natural?
Yeah, that's the issue with the amount of options, is that none of them are aligned. Well, a lot of them are aligned to, a strict set of guidelines, but nothing is cut and dry across the board. So that's why you got to have certain pro cards over here, and then like it's honestly a lot, and it's like super expensive. So it's kind of like, do you really want to compete? I don't really know.
So is there a, obviously I'm not gonna say Olympia, is there a Super Bowl or something in that Fed, like a grand champion type of thing, or?
There's a couple, but I mean, I would say probably the biggest show is Mr. America over in Atlantic City.
Oh, nice.
So that one usually brings out some heavy hitters because it's not federated. It's not under a federation, and I think they were on TV, or they are actually consistently on TV whenever they do their stuff. So it's pretty big.
Okay. So when did you first get into actual supplements?
Ooh, like 17, 18.
During your soccer days?
Yeah.
So what were you using?
I was trying to do both. So I was trying to go to the gym and do soccer.
Okay. What was the first thing? What was the first thing? Maybe.
What'd you say?
What's the first product you used? Do you remember?
Optimum Nutrition's Gold Standard. That
okay.
Back in the day, along with their creatine that came in the black bottle with the green label that you had to use a spoon to get out.
Yep.
That's what I was using. The not the high stem one. It was like, I want to say around 150, 170 milligrams of caffeine. One, like the middle tier one.
Okay. So now when you look at that back then, because I know that was very popular, but it's like, I don't think Optimum has the flavoring. Like when you compare all the new proteins nowadays, I look back, and so I was an Optimum guy myself back in the early, 2000 teens. And I look back and I'm like, their chocolate really isn't that good compared to everybody else nowadays. So that vanilla is not as good as people think it is.
Yeah. I mean, I only drink chocolate really, so it's kind of almost like across the board. The only thing that I notice is like the change in textures.
Yeah. Okay.
That one was like really watery versus like some of the ones that I have now. They're a little bit more thicker, but that just could be, the difference in ingredients.
Yeah. Again, it's so funny when you look at how everything is progressed throughout the years. So let's get the elephant in the room here. You decide to open up a supplement company.
Right.
What, in today's crazy society, I have the utmost respect for anybody that opens a supplement company. I mean, people tap me on the shoulder showing you should do when you should do, and I don't want the headache. I'd rather just use other companies' great products. I'll put my stamp of approval. I'll do a review. But long-windedness, why?
Because honestly, I mean, the reason I went my route is because I thought I could do better than what is on the market. Okay. And I'm kind of in the same boat as you. So then I have a plethora of companies that I use for like all my powders. So like my whey or isolate protein, you Dymatize. I was rocking with Cage for a minute. Yep. Like there's so many good powders, but I was like, the gummy space, I could go in there and crush that. At least that was my thought process behind it.
Yep. So now because you already had a version out, right? If I remember correctly, you had one version out. You're coming out with version 2 of the gummies.
Correct.
Okay, so walk us through. You decide to open up. You're looking at this in your head. I want to start doing gummies. How hard is it to find a gummy manufacturer? Because obviously there's dozens upon dozens of powder manufacturers, but how hard was it to find a gummy manufacturer?
The gummy manufacturers are not hard to find. Startup gummy manufacturers are hard as hell to find. Oh my God, it took me 8 months.
I'm sorry, what, starting it? I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
So startup. So like, yeah, you can go to the big guys and they'll be like, yeah, MOQ 500,000 gummies.
Yeah.
I can't afford 500,000 gummies, or I wouldn't even, like starting out. Cause I mean, if you think it like 500,000, you're at 10 cents.
Yep.
So, I mean, like that's a big chunk of change up at the very beginning. So it took me a really long time to actually find a manufacturer. Thankfully, one of the bigger players recommended me another one and actually gave me their number, or else I might not even have been here.
So they charge you by the gummy? They don't charge you by like a typical bottle of 60 or whatever, like a typical capsule bottle or something?
Not for a custom formula. Custom formulas are fully by the gummy.
Okay, so how many manufacturers did you interview, go to, whatever it was, before you finally found somebody?
I mean, the number isn't going to sound like a lot, but like 27, 28.
There's a lot, brother. That is a lot.
Yeah, but it's a lot of time because a lot of these manufacturers, I don't know if you've ever been through the process, but a lot of their like communication and all that is like very broken, like the tech stack or whatnot. Yep. So like you might put in a request for contact or email somebody, but it just takes so long for people to get back to you on that side of stuff, especially whenever you're like a smaller player, just because you're not really moving the needle, which is understandable in business. It is what it is, but that's kind of what was making it so long.
Yeah, because I have friends that they're kind of in your boat when they're starting up companies, and that was one of the, I asked them what was the deciding factor, and that was it. Like sometimes they'll get a response back 24 hours, 48 hours later, and it might not be what they want to hear, but the fact that they got at least a response back, where like you're saying, some of these other ones you get lost in a loop, or sometimes you put in, I'm looking for 512 units, and they're like, forget it, next. It's a business. At least give a courtesy. Hey, man, thanks for the interest, but we can't accommodate you. Don't just blow you off and send you to kind of ghost land.
Yeah, I mean it's rough. It's rough if you don't have the ability to just put your head down and get through it. I mean, because you're making phone calls, and like you said, some people they'll be like no, and then that's discouraging because then they don't have nowhere to send you, and then some people are like, if you can do this, well, it's like I can't afford that, but it's a cycle. It's a part of the process. Suck it up and get through it.
So obviously gummies are on the rise, all different type of categories, but what made you decide on the BCAA category?
So I went into the supplement store. So this is back whenever I was in St. Louis, is whenever this all started. And I was just looking for like a low calorie, no sugar snack because I think I was like 2 weeks out from a show.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at all the bars and everything, and I'm like, oh my God, 33 grams of carbs, 4 grams of sugar, 8 grams of sugar. And I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous. I just want something to snack on because I'm so lean. Like I feel like I'm about to eat my arm. So it's like, okay, this isn't going to work. Walked to the grocery store and just bought some sugar-free Jello. And I was like, I could probably put this with, at the time I was taking All Max, their Aminos. So I just scooped some up, put them in a pot with my gelatin mix for my Jello, and took it off from there. And then I was like, this could actually kind of be something. They kind of tasted good, but that's probably because I was like cooking all my ingredients out. So it just really just the Jello and the flavor.
You have no flavor. You have probably no flavor taste buds. When you're competing, there are no flavor taste buds left.
Right. That probably enhanced it like 10 times. So I was like, yeah. And then I took them to some people that I worked out with, and they're like, yeah, this is, these taste pretty good. Like, so, and then that's when I started looking for manufacturers.
So when you were doing that aspect, did you do like gummy shots, or did you make like actual cups, or what did you do with that? Not gummy, I'm sorry, Jello shots.
Yeah, I went and actually bought molds. So I had I went on Amazon and bought like a little, like 4x10 mold.
Okay.
And I was actually just pouring it onto the molds, and then just had like little tiny squares, and actually like I would put them in my little, the bottom of my shaker bottle. How like little things that you can put your pills and whatnot. I just put them in there, take them with me, and just hand them out.
It's so mindless when you think about that, but yet like obviously people might have tried that, but it's so mindless now you talk about it. Because I always think about like I'm big into BCAAs, EAAs myself, and like for the summer I'll just make ice cubes. So instead of taking like a full scoop of my water and put an ice cube in there, or 2 of those ice cubes, just to flavor the water a little bit. But just to think of making Jello, like BCAA amino acid Jello, it's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, and kind of because I kind of skipped over why BCAAs, EAAs. Honestly, because that was like one of the easiest supplements that I was taking every day. That I could actually see it becoming something. Like obviously, you're not going to go and put protein in a gummy.
Yeah,
it's just too massive. Creatine, I wasn't really taking it like that back then, so it wasn't really a thought. They were just there. They were my favorite supplement.
Mm-hmm.
I took them. I was drinking them every day because I was tired of drinking water. So I was just like, hey, let's see if there's another way I can do this. It's going to be a little bit, not necessarily fill me up, but at least, I don't want to chew gum all day because then, you know, stomach gets to hurting. But at least I can sit here and eat this sugar-free Jello, almost 0 to no calories. If I need to, I'll just take a 10-minute walk and burn everything off.
So when you're using powdered BCAAs or EAAs, are you drinking them intra-workout or just throughout the day sitting at your desk? Or like how often are you doing EAAs or amino acids? I'll call it amino acids.
Both. So
Okay.
I drink it throughout the day and I drink them intra-workout.
It's funny because I'm a huge, I'll call them amino acids because everyone BCAA, EAA, I'll kind of call them amino acids, but I'm big for intra, always, always. You know, if I have a heavy day, I'll do like 10 grams. If I have a lighter day, I'll do 5. But I think it's one of those products that sometimes gets overlooked. It gets a lot of flack, but I think it's because like people that are on budgets, they either go like they got to get a pre-workout, they got to get a protein. You know, those are probably the 2 categories. And amino acids don't fall into like the budget category. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. I've always, well, not always, but for the last about 4 or 5 years, I've always took it intra specifically, just especially because I train fasted, so it's kind of like not really my enhancer, but my enhancer, you know, mid workout. So
Yeah, yeah. And for me, you know, just it's something that's just not water. And then maybe it's a mental thing for me, but I actually feel better the next day. I don't feel as sore. Maybe it's a mental thing, but I that's just me.
that's what I was getting ready to say. This shit might just be placebo, but it works if
It's
it's
a tasty
mental or not.
placebo.
What'd you say?
It's a tasty placebo.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now, so obviously you found the manufacturer. Okay, now, like, how long has it taken you, or because again, you're the small fish. I mean, respectfully, you're the small fish in the big pond here. How long has it taken for you to place that order? And I know we talked off air that you finally have some in stock now. How long has that taken?
Yeah, so for the first order, I'll go off the first one because I actually went through the full process. We're still in mid-process right now with these ones, so I'll
Okay,
kind of tell you the difference. So the first manufacturer I went with for my very first product, it took 14 weeks for me to get from PO to fully in my house, right? But they
okay,
were doing the bagging and everything. Now I have a new manufacturer, smaller firm. They're kind of like standing up like me.
okay,
So like I have the owner's cell phone number. So we can push out a lot of gummies in a week.
okay.
So realistically, if we needed to, we could probably push out 300,000-400,000 in 1 week.
Jeez, okay.
But that's just because I mean I got advisors. I know people. I'm
Yep,
very connected now versus whenever you first start out, you don't know anybody. So you're just kind of
y-
like out there, sink or swim.
yep, yep. So now talk to me about the flavor. How did you arrive on the flavor? And I guess how many renditions did you have to go through to kind of get the flavor you wanted?
Yeah, I should have brought all my little sample bags over here because I got about 50 of them. We've been in R&D for almost 9 months. Well, we
Okay.
were in R&D for 9 months.
Yep.
Uh, the only reason that we even got the project completed was because of outsourced flavor house was able to send in their flavor profile stuff for the
Okay.
blue raspberry specifically,
Yep.
and it just took it over that hump that we needed to get to.
Okay.
Because my team is very good with like getting the ingredients in there, but they don't know everybody.
Sure.
We know everybody, so that was the final thing. Like we had the ingredients all in the gummy. We had it in the serving size, but they were just terrible. And anybody that works with amino acids will tell you this, like they're the worst ingredient probably to work with as far as taste goes. So
Yeah. Okay.
luckily by the grace of God, that's what we'll put it on because man, I was about to call it quits, bro.
So what sweetener or what flavoring are you using to get it to that right flavor?
So right now we're using sucralose. We
Okay.
might transition to something more natural, but I don't know. That might just be a hill that I die on with the sucralose, just because I don't know if we'll be able to achieve the flavor profile that would make the consumer want to eat the product
Yep.
without having that artificial sweetener in there. And blue raspberry is the flavor that we're going with.
So with a serving, how much sugar or how many calories in a serving?
So 30 calories, and we're doing no sugar. No sugar. That was my
Okay.
thing. No sugar, because if you're gonna do sugar, there's really no differentiation at that point, if you ask me.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
Okay.
a Alani New Gummy or Smart Sweets Gummy or any of these other low sugar gummies. You might as well just go get one of them because they might be cheaper. I don't really know. It depends on how you look at it, but
Yep. Yeah, because I could just see like I'm on TikTok every once in a while, and all the sucralose conspiracy theorists, and I'm like, and I just laugh because I'm like, stevia, sucralose, Splenda, all these other ones. I'm like, you're not taking pounds of it a day. You're not going to die, as people say.
yeah. I mean, there's a very small amount in the gummies, especially in the serving size. Like you're only eating 4 6-gram gummies, so it's not like you said, you're not eating enough for it to really negatively affect you. But people nitpick at anything, so
Exactly.
it's one of those things. Like I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. So that's the hill that I'm just gonna die on at this point.
Yep. And I know you spend a lot of time on LinkedIn because I was following you on LinkedIn with your packaging. How frustrating was that, or how long did it take you to come down with the packaging? Because I think you had 3 or 4 different renditions. You were kind of asking the audience which people like.
Yeah, I mean that took a long time too. I don't really have a time frame on that just because we were waiting on R&D, and then again, I have one of my friends do it, so I call them like, "Hey, I need this done by tomorrow." It gets
Yep.
done by tomorrow. So I mean, I'm thankful that I'm in a position to be able to do that. So the packaging, the only thing that really takes a long time is kind of like making the small tweaks. So like how we went with
Yep.
we went with black on black. I had to wait for the manufacturer to make the sample. That's what takes the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about 2 weeks to get the sample. Then we're like, okay, the black on black doesn't really work for long-term goals, like if we want to do retail. So then we have to switch that up. Like, so maybe like 4 or 5 weeks,
Okay.
realistically. I mean, if you don't put in the manufacturing time and the lead time, then it's like we can do it in 1 week. But
Yep. So what's the difference between your V1s and your V2s? The dosage, or is there something else that I remember or don't remember?
The dosage, the flavor, the serving size. So whenever I first started off, so my original BCA gummies were 10 gummies per serving because I wanted it to be more like a satiating snack, right?
Okay.
There were only half a gram though of branched chain amino acids per
I remember that.
right? And the flavor was fruit punch. They were good. Like I did it all by myself, so I was like, "Oh, this is cool, yeah, woo." But then, Benjamin Kane had commented on it on something that was just questioning like the amount of essential amino acids. So I was like, "Ooh, damn, he's right. I got to switch this up." So,
Yep.
but that's what kind of made me pull everything off market and go back into R&D. So now the new one is a more realistic serving size too, because I had to think about it. You have to switch your mindset to kind of from what you want it to be, what you want the product to be, to what realistically would sell. So if you look at all the gummies on the market right now that are like in the vitamin space and whatnot, it's usually like 2 gummies, maybe 3 at max. So I'm like, people going from 2 to 3 to 10 is kind of a big jump. So I had to bring that back in. So that's why we're only going with 4 gummies per serving. And now we're at 6.7 grams of amino acids because I wanted it to compete with the powders. So it's like now you can have your choice.
Yep. I don't remember. Is it full EAAs too, or is it just BCAAs?
It's full EAAs. So
nice.
Yep, we're using Compound Solutions Amino 9.
Okay.
So clinically backed and all that. So like it took a lot of thought.
Yep.
Trial and error.
You mentioned being well respected now and knowing a lot more people. Do you know Matt Nickerson
From where?
He was from Compound Solutions, but now he has a new company, Self-Flow 6. Didn't even ring a bell. Okay, yeah, because he was a big player at Compound Solutions back in the day. So I just figured I'd ask.
Yeah, no, I don't know him. I just met the full Compound Solutions team, and then my account person before we started the new edition was Alex, but he doesn't work there anymore. So I'm still small.
So obviously when you're shopping manufacturers, what was the deciding factor to finally go with them? The fact of your lower MOQs, the money? I mean, what were the deciding factors to make you decide to go with them?
My advisor told me to go with them. He gave me his number, and then the dude's very responsive. I'm super huge, like especially since I've been in the game for a little bit now. Responsive. Yep. If it takes you 72 plus hours to respond to me, we're probably not going to work.
Yeah. Okay.
because I
Okay.
mean, it's 2024 and I know people need to have lives and everything, but I know people have their phone, check email like all day. If I can do it, I expect, the same.
It's a blessing and a curse with today's technology. Is I think people expect immediate gratification. Like my thing, and I say this on other podcasts. Like if I text somebody and I get a response back like 3 hours later, like, "Hey, bro, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Don't apologize." I'm like, if you don't get back to me in 2 days, and it was just like, "Hey, if it's not urgent, if I say it's urgent, you don't get back to me, it's one thing." But people have the tendency of apologizing like 4 hours later.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just me being the old man on the food chain here.
No, I definitely if it's in a reasonable time, yeah, don't apologize. I'm big on that too. Don't apologize for nothing that you didn't do, but like that I don't know, it's a balancing act.
Yep. So Tristan, so shooting you straight between the eyes here, as we know, gummies have been getting a lot of slack. I know there's a big, I'm not gonna say hit piece about the creatine gummies.
Yes.
Okay, that a lot of companies, a lot of them finding out. So now, what does Compound Solutions, or what can you do to back up the validity of, as you said, I think you said 6.7 grams or something of amino acids. Like, how do consumers feel comfortable now after seeing, the shadiness like in the gummy world?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting ours third party tested right now. So we're not
Okay.
even going to market until we know for sure that we know that the ingredients are surviving through the cooking process.
Okay.
So if we're doing this because not solely because of Now Foods, like we were going to do this anyway and get ours
Yep.
tested, but now that it's becoming more public, I want the smoke. Like people can come. Like, what are you going to say? Like we have. If you go against my product, you're literally going against everything in the industry because I'm using clinically backed ingredients, just like Cage, just
Yep.
like everybody else is that uses Max Catalyst, all these bigger, well-known ingredients, right? That are clinically backed. My stuff's
Yep.
going to be clinically backed. As long as we pass the third-party testing, what can you really say to me that doesn't invalidate the other supplements on the market?
Yeah. I know. I think that's a problem, though. Is a lot of times people put too much trust. It's not a bad thing because I mean, let's face it. There's tons of great companies. We talked about some of them offline, but again, there's some companies that I know they have a great following, great sales, but I question like the authenticity of the product itself.
Yeah, I mean,
It's tough.
I think Sean Wells put out a article about some testing, and like over 60 to 70% of the tested supplements had failed.
Yep.
So I mean, it until people start putting pressure on the bad players, I mean, you can't really expect anything to change.
Yeah. I didn't even think to ask at the beginning of all this. Where did the name Ascentix come from?
AI.
At least you're honest. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it. I wanted it to be a tagline. So the Ascend Beyond was cool. You know, growing up, 90s baby, Dragon Ball Z, like the powering up, like that's cool. So I
Okay.
was like, okay, just thinking. And I was like, Ascentix, Ascend Beyond, they kind of go hand in hand. And then I was like, okay, we could do the A. That's how we got the logo with the little ring of power.
Yep.
It's kind of like a play on a little bit of World of Warcraft, like Revival, along with like Dragon Ball Z, like whenever they go Super Saiyan. That's kind of what the play is.
Okay. So how many different names did AI spit out at you then?
A lot. So I
Okay.
was looking at names for about a week. And then I was just like, man, I'm just gonna pull the trigger. Like, we can always change a name if need be, but now
Yep.
it's kind of stuck now.
So wait, did you talk to buddies, talk to your parents, family, anybody, or did you just guys say that's it, no questions, ifs, ands, buts?
Yeah. I sent the top three to a couple of my close friends, and then my dad and my aunt because
Okay.
they do most of the business stuff with me.
What were the other names? You remember?
Nah, I don't actually.
Okay.
I can probably find them, but
It's okay.
deep in the archives.
So now moving forward, we're gonna drop the amino acid gummies. What's next for you guys?
I mean, if we find market fit, then honestly, I'm coming for everybody. So like the little clumsy weak pre-workout gummies that you see right now, no, we're gonna come in and crush that probably. Do
Okay.
a new topic probably. I mean, there's a lot of stuff cooking, but it just depends on how the market takes it. Like you said, like I'm coming in at a weird time, so like people are getting burnt by gummies because other bad players can't pass third-party testing.
Yep.
And then you got price gouging. Like I was looking on TikTok the other day, like you can get a full can of somebody's creatine gummies for like $22. I know you're not making no money on that, but it's like, I don't know. Only time will tell. But yeah, we're coming.
Have you able to analyze, do any data on, I mean, we'll just pick a category, whether it's creatine or collagen gummies versus an actual powder, like the consumer spending? I mean, have you been able to track that at all? Like, let's just say a powder or a pill versus a gummy.
No, I haven't really been able to find anything specific to that.
Okay.
The bigger numbers are like usually what the whole sales.
Yep.
Like, you know, the essential amino acid or amino acid market is like $3 billion, but it doesn't like powder versus gummies. But again, our gummy is the only gummy that's clinically dosed. So it's like, are you going to count the numbers for the 500 milligram
Yep.
gummies? I don't really know.
And like you said, it's easy and it's portable. Like for me in my gym bag, I always have a container of EAAs, but it might be nice though just to pop a couple of those during a workout, and one less thing to carry in my bag, or just on the, like you said, just something instead of grabbing a candy bar or something, pop whatever 6, 8, 10 of those, fill yourself up, and keep positive nitrogen balance and feel good.
Yeah, I mean that's what we wanted to do, and then like I'm not a power lifter or anything, but I was always thinking about like power lifters because I know like during they have their longer rest periods. It's been rumored, I haven't seen it, but people like might eat a little something, between each set or whatever. So I was like, that would be cool. And then like on the runner side of things, whenever people do marathons and stuff, they have the little gels.
Yep.
So I was looking at like, well, this could be alternatives to various things. So that's kind of why we built it like we did.
I'm actually thinking too, and maybe this is already on your radar, is you put a low dose of caffeine in them too. Like low, like maybe 50, 60 milligrams, like a cup of coffee for the 4 or 5 that you take, just so you get the amino acids and that little bit of extra spike.
Yeah, I mean, we can't mess with the formula just because it took us so long to get here. Like, I would love to be able to make a quick switch and do kind of like a play on Optimum Nutrition's their amino energy, because they have 50 milligrams of caffeine in there. So I think that would be cool. But I don't know, maybe Optimum Nutrition, if you're here, if you see this, holler at
me. So do you want, so when you drop the product, obviously, do you want to build, so do you want to keep the amino acids and maybe build out some additional flavors of this, or like this succeeds and the next step is something else, and there's something else in the gummy space? Or do you want to kind of build the amino acid space a little bit bigger?
I
have you thought that far?
To do both simultaneously.
Okay.
I mean, it's just so expensive, dude. Like, doing everything. So, like, to bring a new product to market, it's at least going to cost like 35 grand. To do it in flavor, we're talking maybe like 2. So obviously, like the flavors would be the quickest way to expand market. Maybe. I mean, I feel like blue raspberry is kind of the sweet spot for most consumers. So switch to like a more citrusy flavor, and then do some kind of like a interesting, more like nuanced flavor.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you said 35 grand. That's obviously not included all the administration, your website and LLC, or whatever you're branded under, all the other stuff that goes into building the brand.
Yeah.
What's when you look at this, what's been the most difficult starting the business? Was it the administration, like I mentioned, finding the supplier, the profile panels? What's been the toughest?
Just getting the formula done. I mean, the administrative stuff and all that stuff sucks, but it's like, it only sucks because it's something that you don't want to do. Like, he wants to go and fill out paperwork all day. Like, it's not hard though. Getting the formula done.
Okay.
That was very hard. Like, really hard.
Just because you didn't know what dosage to go, or what made it so difficult?
The science. I mean, 6 7 grams and 4 gummies. Like we're talking like max capacity gummy, along with the flavor, along with the bitterness, like the the scientific part of it. There's only so much that the normal or like most manufacturer scientists will tell you that they'll put in a gummy.
Yep.
So, for example, if you have the gummy at said weight, you can only go up to 10% of that weight.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
In active ingredients, right?
Okay.
Ours is maxed. Whenever I say max, like max. I'm not gonna say any percentages because you know, people might, you know, get a little nosy, but yeah, ours is maxed, and that was very hard. I wouldn't have been able to do it without my advisor.
So now, how do you keep yourself, like when you're doing this? What kind of research? How are you keeping yourself up to date? Examine, or like, how are you looking at scientific studies? Where are you going for info aside from your advisor?
For info, just in general.
In general, like learning about, you know, amino acids and the science and what dosages should be and that kind of stuff.
Consultants, various people, LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn is, people sleep on LinkedIn. Like I learned so much stuff on there. What I can't think of his name. What is the Vanilla Gorilla is what he goes by.
Oh yeah, Drew. Drew. I forgot his last name is Drew.
Yeah, every time he posts something, I'm watching it, the full thing, every single time, because he always has like all his scientific information. Compound Solutions posts their formulation talk on there. You know, you got podcasts like yours whenever you guys get on here and talk about your stuff. So I mean, there's really like so many sources just feeding into the funnel. It just depends on the day, really.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, I've been on LinkedIn for 20 years, but I'm on more of the business side. I've kind of slept on the whole supplement thing, but then I started peeling back the layers, reaching out to certain people, and now it's like my feed is nothing but like great supplement stuff. Yours and Vanilla Gorilla and everybody, like just exciting stuff, or whether it's I'm dropping this, or like you know, hey, what do you think of this versus that? Or, you know, it's just it's good content. Like when I wake up in the morning, I get on there, I'm excited. It's almost like the newspaper, you know?
Yeah, that's the first thing I do too.
Oh man. So as we wind down here, Tristan, what else? Is there anything we haven't covered? It's been a great conversation. Is there anything else we haven't covered at the moment that you want to let the listeners know about?
Nah, man, I think that you got pretty much everything. I mean, we're just waiting to drop. I mean,
okay. And once again, when do you think you'll have product to ship?
Hopefully by the end of this month. Testing takes 15 days. They got my product last week, so 15 business days. But the pop up, and whenever it's done, it's uploaded automatically into my little dashboard online. So I'll have the results instantly, and then after that, 1 week for my manufacturer to pump out all my gummies, and then give me like 2 to 3 days to package everything, and then we should be good to go as long as the website and everything's done. But I'm getting that done right now. So
I'm assuming like every upstart company, probably your side bedroom is going to be your warehouse.
Yeah, my I wish you could see it, but I got boxes of my old ones still over here. I'm gonna have boxes behind me probably.
That could be your backdrop for the future podcast that you do with people. You see all the stickers.
Like, what's in there? Just gummies.
Oh my God. Well, Tristan, it's truly been a pleasure. You know, tell people with the website, Instagram, social media, LinkedIn, whatever you want to promote here.
Yeah. So all my socials are just my name at Tristan Nance across the board. I'm most active on LinkedIn. That's where I've been posting pretty much daily, the journey and everything. For the company, we are redoing our website right now, but it's AscentixIL.com. So ASCNTIXIL.com. Okay. That's where you can find us. And yeah, hopefully we'll be dropping here soon.
Well, Tristan, it's truly been a pleasure. You know, make sure you let me know when the product is available so I can grab some, but also the fact that I can go ahead and promote it, let people know to head on over. Again, you know, it's exciting. It sounds like a great product. And, you know, looking forward to your future, brother.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. I'm looking forward to everybody trying it. You know, even if we don't stick in the market, you know, it's pretty cool because nobody's done it before. So I hope that people enjoy it and we can make a real business out of it.
You know, brother, I tell everybody, this is the God's honest truth. I have the utmost respect for anybody that starts a business, whether it succeeds or fails. That someone's taking a risk, and hopefully your risk will pay off, my man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, my man.
So, and for everybody listening, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you let us know what you think. Like, subscribe, comment, any of those good things. And as always, make sure you follow Tristan. I see some good things here. As always, thank you so much for tuning in to Supp Talk Radio. Take care now.